I live vicariously through others.
Yeah.
But I'll watch people gamble. I don't like when they tell me that they've gambled off of A, something I said on the show, or B, when I'm with them and they've called in a bet. As a friend did on a Monday night, he's a Raider fan. He steps outside, he comes back, and I said, "Where'd you go?" And I said, "Your kid's calling?" He goes, "No, I put a dime on the Raiders." And I go, "Why?" He goes, you like the Raiders. I said, "But not to bet on them." And, so then I'm invested in that damn game watching it. Yeah, Paul.
I remember Tiger Woods said something once about betting golf. What do you want to bet? And he said, whatever makes you nervous. If what you bet doesn't bother you or excite you either way, there's no reason to bet. Like, let's say you bet $25 a game and that's nothing to you, then you wouldn't bet $25 a game. You bet if you lose all 4 bets in a day, you're like, oh man, I'm hurting. And vice versa. If you get 4 wins in a day, like, I'm rolling. I think that's what bettors do. When I bet, I always bet what the max I could at the time.
Yeah, it's rare when you go, let me do. Now, I'll go play blackjack. I'll do blackjack. And if there was a 5-cent table, I would play 5 cents. I try to find the $5 one, but I don't want to extend my limit, my max on it. I know where it leads to. But there's nothing like I'm all in. I mean, it's got to be the same thing with Texas Hold'em. When you win and you go all in on a game, then Sunday night or Monday night, or you've lost and then you go all in on trying to recoup that high and that low. I mean, the high is never as good as the low is bad. Because when you'd win, you'd go, okay. When you'd lose, it would just mangle you. You'd be like, oh, God. And then you'd have to wait like 5 days to bet again. And then you'd be looking, and then you get information. And I can't imagine what it is now because there's this proliferation of information out there where somebody's going to say, yeah, we've gone 18-6 in our last 24 games with Oklahoma football. And then you're going, okay, are they due to lose? Can they keep the streak going? And then you take any bit of information, and then you go, all right, I'll bet a dime on that. Yeah, see.
Because I like to watch, especially you and Paulie, because you guys seem to be the most into this. When there's, say, it's the NCAA tournament, and there's a meaningless 3 at the end of the game, and that's what changes the outcome of the line or whatever. And you guys are like, oh my God!
I know.
You guys go nuts because you know that there are people right now who either just had their day made or ruined, and it's sort of like you're still in it in a way, where you're watching that like, oh my gosh.
I don't like to even know what the lines are. Like I just don't. I know how I was when I was involved in it, and I couldn't even watch games. Guys now have to put money down on a game that they wouldn't normally watch. I put money down on games that I wanted to watch or I felt strongly about. I didn't go, boy, I'm going to watch this football game. I got to put some money down on it. But I'm always looking for that. Whenever there's a shot at the buzzer, I always go, what was the line? Just out of habit. Like, what's the line? Yeah, Fritzy.
Our buddy Scott Van Pelt does that bad beat segment. That's going to be even that much more of a big deal as more and more people start to, flirting with gambling.
Yeah, you'll be able to profit off of their pain and misery, their bad beats. I hope Scott's happy with that. Yeah, Paul.
If you're ever in Vegas for the first 4 days of the NCAA tournament, the who wins and loses the game is almost meaningless. It'll be like Middle Tennessee State versus Kansas. The line's 27.5.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Jim Lipper from Middle Tennessee State bombs a 3 to cover, and the whole place goes berserk. And if you just walked in the room like, why are you excited about Middle Tennessee State losing by 24?
Yeah, this game's been over for a long time. Or then you have a parlay and all those things. Oh, man.
It's so good.
It brings back such bad memories. And the fact that the guy that I bet through was a well-respected businessman in town, and he also took side bets from Pete Rose at the time. That's why, when I first joined the mothership and we did the whole Pete Rose thing, I had all this information because I would just call my bookie and I said, hey, help me out here. What do I need to know? And then he would tell me all the bets that Pete would have. And the only thing he never told me about Pete if he bet against the Reds. Never told me that. Because I asked. And he said, I don't know. Which he knew. He was not going to give up any information with that. And then it came out, decades later when Pete told me that he bet on every Reds game he managed. He bet on them to win. That information had never come out. I've since been told that he didn't always bet on the Reds to win. But I don't know about it as a player. Because if he did it as a player, then he should not be in the Hall of Fame. As a manager, I'd still put him in the Hall of Fame. But, people are trying to connect you can now bet on baseball. Pete should be, liberated. He let out of baseball prison. No, that's not the way it works here. Yeah,
and even if you wink at the fact that Pete Rose just bet on his team to win, so he's trying his hardest as the manager to make sure they win, but then were there point spreads involved? Did he make certain managerial changes so that they can win by a certain amount of runs and a pitcher that was put in?
Well, you can manipulate the lineup. You can bring in John Franco, and maybe, you need John Franco, but John Franco shouldn't be pitching. Like, you could jeopardize players here by doing that. But I was told that Pete, there was one pitcher that he had that he didn't like to bet for, he would bet against. Imagine that. You go out to take him out and you're like, come on, can you give me a couple more crappy innings here? I mean, what are you doing? You can't come out after 3. You're killing me.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.